Hey everybody, thank you for tuning in to another thrilling episode of This Week in Real Estate. And again, it was a very quick week, both on the business and the personal side of things, but very good week. So we'll get right to it. The market report. Delaware County actually saw kind of a semi-significant dip in their active listings, and their pendings also went down. So right now 130 active homes for sale in Delaware County, and that's down almost 20 from last week. And then you figure, or I would figure, okay, some of those went to the pending side of things, but the pendings are down by about 7 from last week to 210 pending. So inventory going down basically. So Randolph County stayed exactly the same, 35 active homes while 34 are pending. So interesting to see what the fall atmosphere is, because I've gotten a few calls here recently. It's like, oh, you know, we're getting ready to sell. Is this a bad time? Should we have done it in summer? Well, their competition as far as the seller is concerned appears to be going down. So less competition for less competition for them, more competition for the house itself. So that may play very well for a seller right now. So moving on to the good, the bad, and the ugly. So as I mentioned, quick week, a lot of good things. Was able to list a property on State Street in Albany. Already had quite a few showings on that, and good feedback. I did receive feedback last night that we should be expecting an offer. Haven't seen it yet, but again, good feedback that somebody's considering that. And then also was able to get over to Winchester. There's a kind of a small business looking to open another office and locate into Winchester. So we kind of walked around the square looking at what was available, or maybe not available yet, but asking questions. So that was fun. Enjoyed that. And then another good thing would be that 2 almost back-to-back phone calls the other day, and they were from the family members of past clients from I'm guessing 5 or 6 years ago. So so the past clients had remembered me and what I do, and so that's great. And they passed my name and number along to their family members once they heard that they were needing some assistance in buying and selling. So totally appreciate that. That's the way most of my business comes from. So that's awesome. On a personal side of things, I was able to take a little time off, as much as you can. I still had the phone and stuff like that, but pretty much took a couple days off and went camping with the family. And so that's kind of quite the production, if you will. I'll go backpacking and I'll just go by myself and everything's in my pack, and I walk and then I camp or whatever like that. This is a little different because of the 3 kids, the 2 dogs, and all the stuff that comes along with that. It was fun, but I mean, between all the kid stuff and the dog stuff and our stuff and the tent and the food and fishing gear and stuff like that, took some time to pack, took some time to unload and set up, stuff like that. But it was fun. We had very good weather. Got rained on one night, but we were already going to bed, so tent stayed up, so we were fine, and no leaks that I'm aware of. So let's move on to the bad. So I had mentioned before, especially in Delaware County, the inventory is still very low, and I am on the hunt for a few homes for some clients, and they're coming from one's from out of state and one's just kind of out of the area or whatever. They have rather healthy budgets in my estimation, and we're just not finding it. So we have some lower priced homes here and there, and then we have like some super high priced homes here and there, and in the middle we're just kind of dried up. So that would be bad, to where we're not finding exactly what they're wanting. So another, if you could say it bad, I mentioned camping before. It was a very full weekend. It was Columbus Day, and I know since COVID that campgrounds have been full. A lot of people have been starting to camp, or bought a RV or something like that. So I know campgrounds are going to be full at this point. That's why we didn't go expressly on the weekend. We got there on Sunday afternoon, but it still was very full. Monday, some people left, and then more people kind of left throughout the day, but really not used to like a full campground. You know, the way we grew up camping, there wasn't a ton of people, probably because we waited a little too long and it was cold most of the time. But yeah, just a little different, and perhaps next time maybe a little more remote spot, which I don't know where that would be. Maybe not a state campground, but it was still good. It was just a little bit different from what I'm used to, and we did meet some good neighbors right next to us, and got to talk with them a little bit and just briefly know them. So that was good. So the bad went to good. And so then on to the ugly, and again, maybe not the ugliest of things, just a commentary, if you will. Working for some buying clients, and the seller has enlisted the help, or maybe their employer, I'm not sure that situation, of hiring a relocation company to help them through the selling and the moving process as they go out of state. And it just adds another layer of frustration when it comes to timelines and communication. The other agent's great. She's doing a great job, and we worked together before. It's just trying to get answers in a timely manner, you know, going through her, then the seller, then the relocation company and all. I don't even know what they do as far as how many levels of communication they need to go through before we get a response. So that may not be ugly, that's just frustrating. How about that? The good, the bad, and the frustrating. But so yeah, there's all that. And then on to the next segment of Cooking Corner with Curtis. So we had our last set of soccer games on Tuesday, and it was a great season. Only rained out once, and I think I mentioned before there's like 114 kids that participated. Now, with any kind of sports season or whatever season you go through with the kids, it is nice to get to the end of it sometimes. I'm glad everybody had a fun time, and I'm also glad that we've wrapped it up. But it was pretty successful. Learned a lot as far as the food portion, what people liked or didn't like, wanted to see, didn't purchase, things like that. So like I said, learned a lot, looking to improve next year. So that will be fun. And then this may come as a shock. So one of my favorite parts of camping is the food. So we had the menu all planned out. I know, again, shocker. But we saw that I'll just run down through the menu, if you will, of our time there. And so the first night we got in a little late, so we ended up cooking and eating in the dark. But we had lights and stuff like that. But we had hobo dinners, and if you don't know what that is, it's usually some type of, it's in a foil packet, you make them all up, some type of meat. We had some steak, and then basically whatever vegetables you want to bring. And you put it in there with some butter and some seasonings or whatever, and you don't throw it on the fire per se, but on the grate along the fire and kind of flip them every now and then. So and that turned out pretty well, even though it was in the dark. And then of course the staple of s'mores that evening for the kiddos, and then woke up, made some breakfast burritos. And again, you can make those however you want, so you can make them, you know, with a little Mexican flair if you want, and put some more spicy things in there, or you can make it more savory. We had a little bit of everything, almost a smorgasbord of stuff you could put in it. So that was fun. That was good. And then another staple for lunch, the hot dogs for us. That was fine. And then that evening, knowing that probably wouldn't catch enough fish to feed everybody, and we caught a few tiny fish. I did bring fish, and we did have a fish fry and mac and cheese for supper. And then that evening had apple cobbler. And like I said, like I mentioned before, we had some neighbors, and I offered, hey, you guys want some of this cobbler? We're not going to eat it all. And they said, yeah, bring it over. We can put some ice cream on it. So they gave us, we kind of traded sweets that night. So kids were super excited to hear the word ice cream at camp, because that's something normally not had. And got the apple cobbler a la mode. So that was really good. And then to wrap it up in the morning, woke up and made cinnamon rolls for everybody. So obviously we never went hungry, and I don't think I've ever gone hungry while camping. So all that was good, and now it's just time to clean everything up and pack it all back. So coming up, we have some showings today in Newcastle that I'll be getting to later. And then should be closing the Kings Row property. We're scheduling that, I believe, on Monday, so that one's nice to get that one done. And then have a couple of listing appointments. I think it's tomorrow. Better check that schedule. Tomorrow I have one, and then whenever I can get access to the other one, so I don't know when that'll be. And then on a personal side, we do have Solomon's 5th birthday coming up, so that'll be fun. And if we can back up to Cooking Corner, we let the kids decide basically the food menu of the evening. And so I think what Rachel said was she suggested just a ton of different things, and he's like, yeah, that sounds good. So we have to narrow that down a little bit, and then provide and have fun with that. And then speaking of food again, sorry, May, if I can squeeze it in, get up to Wabash over the weekend. They have a chili cook-off that's very highly attended, so I'd like to go scope that out, eat some good chili, and maybe bring some ideas back for Historic Farmlands chili cook-off for next year. We'll see if I can squeeze that in, hopefully on Saturday. Then the last thing, and maybe some of you can help out, is that speaking of Historic Farmland Board, we're putting in a little Veterans Park next to our building. And we have the ground almost prepped, not quite there. We need another load of dirt, and we're going to grade it and get that set up to put in not only some grass and stuff like that, but putting in a walkway that'll lead to a big, and I think I mentioned this before, but a big diameter circle that will have stones displaying all the branches of the military, and then a flagpole as well. And we have a big nice sign that's going to mark it, Veterans Park. But the goal there is to get that done by Veterans Day. And so today is the 14th, Veterans Day is the 11th, I believe. And so we have some work to be done. And I'm more than happy to do it, just have to carve out the time. And so if anybody has the want to help me with that, and some of it will be heavy lifting, stone and gravel and maybe sod, I haven't figured that out yet, and brick and stuff like that, and which I've done before, I just may need some manual labor help. So, and then we're also always, this has all been donated by the local community as far as the funds to do this. The board has gotten some grants, we've fundraised, and we've put in some of our own money as well. And everything costs money, especially nowadays, and building materials have gone up quite a bit, so we're always able to accept donations as well. So, and if any of that sounds interesting, contact me and we'll get you plugged in. So for all that and for everything else I've talked about today, thank you for checking it out, and until next time, I'll see you later.